Hello ladies, this is for layout number 2 from the G45 Elegance layout kit, and I've come up with something that, since a lot of the stuff is kind of Art Deco-ishy, mixed with Victorian kind of, I wanted to do an Art Deco kind of a design. And believe it or not, this half is done with one piece of cardstock and one piece of designer paper. And if you look closely, you can see how everything is almost kind of matching up, and you can see that it came from one piece of paper. All right, so I'm going to show you how to do this, and this is what it looks like on the back. Okay, now I should have shown you how to cut the cardstock, but I kind of forgotten. I went ahead and did this, but let me I'll take this off of here. Let me go over it, and then I will show you how to cut it on the on this piece of paper. Okay, so the idea is, this is 12 by 12, so you want to make sure that your paper measures 12 by 12. Sometimes they're a little shy on one side and a little longer on the other, so you want to make sure it's actually 12 by 12. And what you're going to do is you're going to take a ruler and a pencil, and at 1.5 inches down, you're going to make a 1-inch mark. So if you want to use your grid on your cutting mat, that is very, very helpful, even though it's upside down. So I am lining it up here. Okay, I hope you can see it in the camera. So here is the 1 inch, and here's the 1/2 inch mark. So you can take your ruler and use the lines to make it straight and mark 1.5 inches out. Okay, then you're going to go up to 1 inch, and you're going to mark 1.5 inches out, so 3, 4.5. Okay, so oh, I forgot to tell you this. You're going to mark on this end, you're going to do 1 inch, 1.5 inch, then move up 1/2 inch using the line on your mat and mark it at 1.5 inches. And then you do the same on the other side. Okay, you're going to go down 1.5 inches using the line, and you're going to go over 1 inch, make a mark, 1.5 inch, make a mark, go up to the 1 inch line and make a 1.5 inch mark. All right, so you'll end up with 3 dots and nothing else. Then you're going to take your paper trimmer, and you're going to trim through to the dot, then turn your paper, cut to the next dot. I hope you can see that. To the first dot, then cut to the next dot, and then turn your paper again and cut to that dot. Then you're going to cut right across here to that dot. Then you're going to turn your paper, cut to this dot, turn your paper, cut to that dot, turn your paper, and cut at 1 inch all the way down. So you'll end up with 2 pieces that look like this. Okay? So now on your designer paper, you're going to cut it. Did I cut this one yet? I don't think I did. No, yes, I did. You're going to cut it so that on one side you cut off 1/8 of an inch. Okay, so you kind of cut off. Let me do it this way. I think you can see it better this way. So So you can see it's at 1/8. There's 1/8. This is the 12-inch mark, and it's 1/8 less. So it's 11 7/8 wide. 11 7/8 wide. So you want to cut that off. Now the height is going to be shorter than that. The height is going to be 11 3/4. Okay, so you want to make sure that it's cut to that. Now, it's kind of hard to make a pencil mark on this black paper and see it. You could do it this way. I don't like doing it that way because when you cut paper, with a paper trimmer, it kind of pushes the paper in as you cut it. And so it gives you a little bit of a lifted edge on the right side, if you're on the wrong side, I should say, if you're doing that. So I like to cut it from the dark side. So I thought I would use a white gel pen to make a dot, okay? And because of the cream colored text, etc., it's not really going to show that much. So I'm going to do this exactly the same thing. Even though this piece is smaller, I'm doing exactly the same thing. Let's just slide it down here. And I am going to, there's 1 inch, 1.5 inch here. Okay, so I'm going to turn this around. So I'm going to stand up and I'm going to line up the ruler along that 9.5 inch line so that my ruler is straight. And I'm going to mark, make sure that you have an inch or a 1/2 inch lining up with the edge of your paper. So I'm going to make a dot at 1 inch and a dot at 1.5 inches. Can you see those dots? I hope you can. Then I'm sliding up to the 10-inch line and I'm going to go over 1.5 inches. So you can see I have a line here, a dot here, here, and here. Just going to brighten those up a little bit. The ruler kind of, there we go. Okay, now I'm going to go, oh yeah, you want to make sure your paper is going in the right direction. I didn't mention that. And then you're going to do the same thing over on the other side. And that's incorrect. It should be on this side here, so forget that. It should be on this side. I apologize, ladies. All right, so again, we're going to line it up at the 1.5 inch, and I've got it lined up on the edge there. So we're going to mark 1 inch, which happens to be just on a white cream colored line here, and 1.5 inch. All right, then I'm going to go up to the 1 inch mark and I'm going to mark 1.5 inch. Okay, so you can see, hopefully you can see a dot there, a dot there, and a dot there. And now on this side here, I'm going to do the same thing. And luckily those white dots will hardly show at all. So I'm going to line up the paper. I'm going to use that line to line up my ruler nice and straight. And I want 1.5 inches, and I want it to line up with a line there. And so I'm going 1 inch and 1.5 inch. Then I'm going to go up 1/2 inch to the 1 inch mark, and I'm going to go at 1.5 inches. Okay, so I have my 3 white dots there on this. This is the side of the paper, and my 3 white dots on that side. So now we are going to cut it on a paper trimmer. And again, I have this 1.5 inch, 2 inch side on the right of my blade, and then the rest here. But if you do not have this extra bit on you're going to have to line it up using your measurements on this side. But I'm using it on this side. Okay, so we know that this mark is 1 inch, right? This is 1.5, and that's 1.5. So I'm going to go to my 1 inch, and my mark is right there on the wire. And from the bottom here, I don't know if you can see, I am going to cut up to the 1.5 inch mark on the side of the ruler. Okay, because once your trimmer blade goes up, it'll cover that white dot, but you want to stop it at the 1.5 inch mark. Okay, now I'm going to turn the paper, and I'm going down to the bottom here, and you can see how it's lining up on the 1.5 inch there. You're going to go to where you can see the cut line and the dot underneath, and I'm going to go 1/2 inch up. Okay, and then I'm going to turn the paper again, and I'm going to line up the dot with my wire, and I'm going to go up 1/2 inch. And I'm turning my paper around again, and I'm going to start from the bottom here, and we're going to line up the paper at the 1 inch mark, and then we're going to go up to where you can see the dot here, and for me it lines up at, I can see here, 2 1/4. So you want to go up to the 2 1/4. And you can see how it's going here. And I'm going to go turn it to the bottom again, and we want it at 1.5. We're going to go to the cutting line, and we're going to go up 1/2 inch, and we're going to turn the paper again, we're going to line up the dots with the wire, and we're going to go to 1 inch, okay, you can see my white dot right there, and then the last bit. So you're going to do this exact same measurements with both the mat and with the paper, even though the paper is smaller. It's the exact same measurements. So line it up on 1 inch, go to the dot, and cut right through. So there we go. There are the two pieces. So now we have to put them together with the cardstock. And I'm going to talk to you while I do this because this was not something that I could prep unless I had a third piece to show you what it looked like when it was finished, and to cut one and then also have one ready to go. It wouldn't work out, so you'll have to put up with me as I slowly do this. I'm a slow paper crafter. Some of you are really quick, but I'm slow. So be patient, and I'll show you how to put this together. Now I've got the tape going around very, very close to the edge on the outside. On the inside, you do not want to have your adhesive going right to the edge of the paper, because it's going to overlap and it'll be sticky. So you're going to just kind of leave like a little bit of paper around the edge that's not going to stick. Excuse my arm. Okay, so the next thing you're going to do, which I found helpful, you're just going to peel back some of the backing of your tape, and you are going to right this side here. Oh, I want to go this way. Okay, and then on one side I take the whole entire backing off. Okay, so you get your mat for that piece, and your hope that you can get a lot of this in. So you want to leave a little bit of a border. It's about 1/8 of an inch. Okay, and then you have this side here, so you kind of hold it in place. Oh, that piece ripped off. I'm just going to, I've never had that happen to me before. Might as well just take it all off now. Okay, and I'm going to turn it so that part's done. Now we're going to put our piece of paper onto this mat, and as you see, it fits perfectly with a bit showing all around. It's a little shorter here, so maybe I'm going to just take a very narrow strip off of here. Sometimes if you have a new blade, it works all right. If you don't, you're going to ruin your paper. So as you can see, I just took a little sliver off. Check that out, And you want to make sure this is the center of the layout. So you want to, this part here is the center of the layout, so you want to make sure it is flush on that side. Oops. There we go. Much better. So now I'm going to put my double-sided adhesive tape on the back of this piece. And you don't have to worry about these corners. What we put on is enough to hold it in place. So oops. All right, so we're going to take the backing off of this. Better put the cap on my white gel pen. Okay, and you're going to want to make sure it's flush on this side of the paper and that the borders are kind of equal as you eyeball it here. There we go. Now, when you place this on top, if you watch here, because this paper goes over the edge here, that little narrow strip is what you can work on to adhere this one. So you're going to need some kind of liquid glue with a really fine tip. And you are going to put a very small bead very close to the edge. Okay, very thin bead. I barely have to squeeze my bottle at all. And it just, oops, comes out. That's for another project. Just a very thin bead right at the edge. I'm not going to worry with the corner. If you end up getting a really big, and you don't need any glue on this inside edge, the center edge, if you end up getting a big blob of glue that you're worried a little bit about, you can just take your finger and take most of it off. Okay, so now I always line it up with the center edge of the layout. You want to make sure whoops, oh darn. That didn't happen with my first one. And I don't know why it's warping there. My other one didn't do that. Nope. Anyway. And there is the back. So then when we work on the layout, you can put it together like so. Oh, it looks like our border is a little wider on this side. But there we go. I don't know if you can see the whole layout there. Probably not. Let me, so you can see the layout. There we go. Okay. Thank you, ladies. Have fun with the layout. Bye for now.